Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 4 of the Marvelathon. Today we're talking about Captain America, the First Avenger. So going into this movie, I haven't seen it in a very long time. I haven't seen this movie probably since it came out, honestly, since I think I watched it after I watched the first Avengers in 2012. So it's been about 6 years. And so I didn't really know what to think going into this. I don't really remember anything about the movie, so it was very fresh going into this, and I'm pleased to say that I really like this one. Compared to Thor, I actually enjoyed this one a lot more. It's definitely not as action-heavy as some modern Marvel movies or some other Marvel movies. It's a lot more about the story. It's actually extremely story-oriented, which I guess is kind of a theme with the Captain America movies. It's a lot more character-focused on the character of Captain America, and well, he's just such a good character. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do when they kill him off. Oh, I mean, they're totally not gonna kill him off. That tweet that Chris Evans made, he's totally not gonna die. Totally not gonna die in Avengers 4. That's totally not what that means. Yeah, guys, I think Chris Evans is the perfect match for freaking Steve Rogers. Like, Robert Downey Jr. is perfect for Tony Stark. Chris Hemsworth is perfect for Thor. And Chris Evans is perfect for Captain America. I mean, like, whoever does the casting at Marvel is a god. Is literally God, because seriously, every single character that's casted in these movies is freaking flawless. I mean, I don't know how they do it. I really don't. I do have a few negatives with the movie, which I'll get on to in a little bit, but I do want to talk about the positives. First of all, I love the relationship between Steve and Bucky. I think it's pretty funny that this is about the only time we see Bucky being a normal human being, except for Infinity War, although he's barely in that. And when we finally get to know him again, he, turns into dust, so we don't really get a whole lot of screen time with him. But yeah, so I just love the relationship between them. I think that's one of the coolest relationships in the MCU because, my God, it's definitely not. It's definitely unique. Definitely not like any others out there. I thought the acting all around was really good. Haley Atwell as Agent Carter was perfect. What's his name? The guy from Men in Black who plays the officer dude. I don't know his name. But I thought he was really good. I love the scene when I love this scene.
When war is guts.
Grenade! Move, move, move! Get away! Get back! Dummy grenade. All clear. Back in formation.
I just think that's such a perfect embodiment of the character of Captain America, showing that he's willing to do anything, no matter what. He's willing to risk his life, and I just think that's awesome. I also really love the scene when all the soldiers are trying to get the flag down at the training camp, and they're struggling, they're kicking each other, all that stuff, and then Steve just comes up and he just unbuckles the thing and it just falls, and they all kind of look at him and they're like, oh, so this guy isn't worthless, because they're the whole time they're just looking at him like, oh, this guy can't do anything. He's just he's a twig. He was a twig. I mean, there's nothing he could have done. But luckily he had the heart of a soldier. I mean, he did a lot of things I personally wouldn't have done because I'm a coward. But yeah, I just think he's a really admirable character, and he's definitely got his flaws. I think it's kind of cliche, though. His flaw is that he cares too much. I think that's, I mean, at the time, maybe that would have been cool, but it's been a few years. Speaking of it being a few years, this movie's not aging too great. It's really not aging too great at all, actually. There's some really bad shots in this movie. There's some really noticeably, distractingly bad shots in this movie. I'll put a few, if I can find them, I'll put a few shots I'm talking about. There's a lot of shots towards the beginning of him kind of running around New York, chasing the Hydra guy, and there are a lot of shots of that where he's like jumping in the air, and then it's green screen, and it's just like, oh my God, that looks really fake. But there's one scene in particular, which I don't know why they had to use a green screen for. They could have easily just used a set. And the thing is, it's not even that old of a movie. Like, this is only 7 years old. And so it really kind of scares me to think, like, what is this going to look like in 10, 20 years? I mean, my God, it's like the prequels level bad of green screen and CGI. Well, not really CGI. There's not a whole lot of CGI in this movie. Let's talk about the villain, Red Skull, who we all know, who a lot of us didn't know, but then, like, we know about him again because of Infinity War. He's kind of back into, like, our minds, even though a lot of people forgot about him. But yeah, Red Skull's an interesting villain. There's not much to him. He definitely has he has a condition I like to call early MCU villain phase, where you're just kind of a horrible villain. There's not much to you. I mean, he's not the worst villain of the beginnings, or of the first few movies. I think he's definitely higher up there. But other than him looking cool, he's an evil Nazi who just wants the Tesseract. I don't know. There's not much to him. Red Skull, just don't care about him. I really don't. Hugo Weaving does a perfect job as him. He's a very intimidating actor. I don't know why, but Hugo Weaving, especially as Red Skull, it's not a guy I want to talk to. I just want to leave. If I see him, I'm just like, I'm done, dude. I'm done. So the guy who directed this movie is a director named Joe Johnston. Most of you guys have probably never heard of this guy, and that's probably for a good reason. He's done some movies that a lot of people know about. For instance, he did Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which is a classic. But he also did a little movie called Jurassic Park 3. So that's a thing. Yeah, it doesn't really look like he's done a whole lot recently, which is really disappointing because I actually thought this movie was pretty well made. I also love the ending. The ending is honestly one of my favorite endings in the MCU. I thought it was really just kind of depressing. Like, he wakes up 70 years later in 2011, and Nick Fury's like, you've been asleep, you know, all that stuff, and he just kind of stands there and looks at New York, all modernized, and he just kind of realizes, like, pretty much everybody he knows is dead. Everybody he knew is now dead because he woke up 70 years later. And that's really depressing. And the last line in the movie is, I had a date. And it's just like, Jesus. Okay. Well, that happened. Yeah, and then the after credit scene, as we all know, is the scene from the Avengers where he's like, you need me to fight again or something. I don't know. I thought that was really cool. I always get really excited when I see that, just because it's like, oh, the Avengers are next. Which, that's right, guys. The next movie I will be reviewing is the Avengers from 2012. I made it. I finally made it. I was really dreading the opening few movies, Thor, Iron Man 2, and kind of Captain America in particular. But we're finally here. We're finally at the big one. I'm very excited for this one. This is the first movie that I ever watched in the theater of the MCU. Like, this is the first movie of the MCU that I watched in a theater. Watched it when it came out. So, very excited for that one. So, stay tuned. That'll probably be next weekend. And, yeah, I'll see you guys. Take it easy. That's not my outro. My outro is, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, do all amazing stuff, and I'll see you guys in the future. Why can't I just say that?